The cruelty is always the point for Donald Trump's administration, but serving our petulant child-in-chief is as well. Everyone in his administration views their role as a servant in the government, not to the rest of us, no, not to America, but to Donald Trump's whims. And when those things come together, it is a deadly combination, as we just saw in Texas, where a deadly flood ripped through the state, and the blame is being directed, rightfully so, at Donald Trump, but it is because of his golfing habit that this has happened. Yes, people have lost their lives because of Donald Trump's love of golf and his administration catering to him. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into those officials in Texas calling out Donald Trump, we have to start where this all began: the cuts to FEMA funds for Donald Trump.
And I don't want to hear a single word from any of my Republican colleagues about where is FEMA when they need emergency management support. Because you are voting for a bill that includes nothing for money that you will need, and you will need it. You are being short-sighted. But do not worry, there is money for FEMA. There is money for FEMA, $300 billion. You know what that's for? For Donald Trump to play golf. $300 million to reimburse local law enforcement for presidential protection related to activities by the president. $300 million. Donald Trump has played golf 24 out of his first 99 days. That is a quarter of the days. So you are funding a bill that does not give any money for natural disasters, that does not repay towns, cities, states for the tremendous amount of money that they have paid out for our immigration system to operate. Nope. And that's red districts too. But we are going to make sure Donald Trump can play golf, because that's where our $300 million of FEMA money should go to.
If Donald Trump's all-out assault on FEMA funds wasn't horrible enough, the fact that he was doing it so he could go golfing more, and not just go golfing more, Donald Trump golfs as much as he wants, but this money, these funds are being directed to his own golf club. So if you thought the crypto grift and the Trump stakes and the Trump perfume wasn't enough, we have to now funnel more money into Donald Trump's golf clubs. Yes, taxpayers are giving Donald Trump billions of dollars to go golfing. That is what is happening right now. But it's not just FEMA funds that Donald Trump is going after. We also just saw new cuts in the one ugly big bag of garbage bill that go directly after what has caused these deaths in Texas.
Today, climate change protections are in peril on Capitol Hill, as experts warn that the Trump administration is leaving Americans vulnerable to deadly summer heat waves. Lawmakers are debating slashing climate projects in the budget, even after what the Federation of American Scientists calls a massive leap backwards. Cuts to the NIH, HHS, FEMA, NOAA, and the National Weather Service. It comes as coast-to-coast scorching temperatures trigger life-threatening conditions and emergency operations.
So not only did Donald Trump strip FEMA funds so he could pay himself to golf, not only does Donald Trump's budget cut climate prevention, go after the National Weather Service, which Donald Trump has already stripped bare, but at the same time, Donald Trump's director of FEMA didn't even know what hurricane season was in America. Didn't know at all. This is the place that Donald Trump and his administration have left us in, and is the reason that after a deadly flood ripped through Texas, we saw the officials in the state blaming Donald Trump. We saw it in this video, and then we'll check out the article as well.
The original forecast that we received on Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain in the Concho Valley and 4 to 8 inches of rain in the Hill Country. We worked with our own meteorologists to fine-tune that weather statement, and as many of you know, and many of you in broadcast journalism and meteorology, you can go back and look at your own forecast, and the amount of rain that fell in this specific location was never in any of those forecasts.
Ron Filipkowski, who shared this video, wrote, after media reports and experts warned for months that drastic and sudden cuts at the National Weather Service by Trump could impair the forecasting ability and endanger lives during the storm season, Texas officials blame an accurate forecast by NWS for the deadly results of the flood. More direct blame of Trump was outlined in this article. Texas officials slammed Trump's National Weather Service for bad forecast. Officials in Texas are casting blame on the National Weather Service for failing to forecast catastrophic flooding that has killed 24 people. NWS was among the government agencies targeted by the Department of Government Efficiency and its effort to gut the federal bureaucracy, losing approximately 600 staffers. After the cuts, the agency, which was already understaffed, began to prepare to offer degraded forecasting services, facing severe shortages of meteorologists, according to an internal document obtained by the New York Times in April. The original forecast was that we would receive Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain in the Concho Valley and 4 to 8 inches of rain in the Hill County, said Texas Emergency Management Chief Nim Kidd at a press conference Friday. The amount of rain that fell at this specific location was never in any of those forecasts. The deranged cuts from DOGE and Donald Trump's lack of care for anything or for anyone but himself has now led people in Texas to lose their lives, while Donald Trump is profiting billions in taxpayer funding for paid golf trips. And what was his response to this flooding? Well, it's exactly what you would expect. Trump wrote on Truth Social, the Trump administration is working with state and local officials on the ground in Texas in response to the tragic flooding that took place yesterday. Our Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, will be there shortly. Melania and I are praying for all the families impacted by this horrible tragedy. Our brave first responders are on site and doing what they do best. God bless the families and God bless Texas. The prayers are not enough, Donald. They're not. And you're not praying. Neither is Melania. It's not in her contract that she has to pray after emergencies, I don't think. She just has to do, what, a couple photo ops every month? This is disgusting. It is sad. And the fact that Donald Trump is cheering on first responders who he is stripped of important, needed funding to respond to these emergencies is embarrassing for our country. It's in farther than just poor taste. It's abhorrent. He doesn't care. He never has. Some post is not going to cover for 24 people who have lost their lives because Elon Musk came through the government with a hacksaw and you've ripped it apart even further with your budget. It's sad, especially in light of what Donald Trump just did to another state that was facing an emergency, recovering from a hurricane in North Carolina, a political pawn for Donald Trump during the 2024 election when he said Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weren't properly responding. I don't remember when they cut FEMA funds. I don't remember when they gutted our response to natural disasters so Kamala Harris could golf. I don't think she did that a lot. That's what Donald Trump did in North Carolina, and Chris Hayes broke it down here.
Last year when Donald Trump was running for president and Hurricane Helene, remember that one ripped through several states, including North Carolina, Trump made some very serious promises to the people there.
Think of it. People are dying in North Carolina. They're dying all over those 5, 6 states. They're dying, and they're getting no help from our federal government because they have no money, because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country. And when I'm president, North Carolina will get the support you need and deserve, and that is without question. Because you didn't get the proper support from this administration. They spent their money on illegal migrants. I will support and totally complete the rebuilding of every region and town and city that was devastated by the hurricane, and I will slash through every bureaucratic barrier that you're having already.
Now, President Trump is president again, so you might reasonably expect him to deliver on this grave promise to give North Carolina and the other impacted states the support they need and deserve. Well, instead, the governor of North Carolina received this letter after his state was denied additional federal support back in April. Donald Trump's FEMA writes, postmarked May 22nd. After a careful and thorough review of all the information available, we've concluded that an extension of the 100% federal cost share for debris removal and emergency protective measures, including direct federal assistance for an additional 100 days, is not warranted. Tough. Too bad. This is amid the Trump administration's effort to dismantle and destroy FEMA as an agency. And that is not hyperbole. In January, Trump said, literally, I think we're going to recommend that FEMA go away. After touring the damage in North Carolina, days later in wildfire-ravaged California, he added, you don't need FEMA, you need a good state government. In furtherance of that goal, Trump tapped David Richardson to lead FEMA, a guy who, according to the Wall Street Journal, quote, doesn't have a background in emergency management. Why would you need one? Earlier this month, Richardson also reportedly acknowledged in private meetings that with 2 weeks to go until hurricane season, the agency didn't yet have a fully formed disaster response plan. Hurricane season begins on June 1st. It's 3 days away. It's unclear what, if any, federal help vulnerable states will get to prepare for and recover from what forecasters predict will be an above-average hurricane season.
Because of Trump's cuts to the National Weather Service. The office that handles forecasts for eastern Kentucky, where Friday's tornado struck, it's short 7 staff members, which means that, among other things, the office no longer has an overnight staff at all. Because, again, obviously, we would hope that severe weather has the decency to only strike during business hours. At any of the 3 offices in Kentucky, there is no meteorologist in charge now. Now, to be clear, we don't know if those staffing shortages in Kentucky had any effect on the ability of the Weather Service to manage and predict and send out appropriate alerts about Friday's storms. There's no reason to think that the Weather Service was anyway at fault for what happened in terms of the devastating impact of those storms. The agency says the Jackson office was staffed overnight for that one night on Friday because of the expected severe weather. Officials, including Kentucky's Democratic governor, say they've seen no evidence that the Weather Service performance was impaired in this instance. But even if it wasn't in this instance, these kinds of cuts just systematically reduce our ability to cope with something as inescapable and inevitable as severe weather. And did I mention that hurricane season starts in 2 weeks?
This is the type of president that we have. Someone who only cares about himself and is willing to sell out your life so he can get paid to play golf. The crypto scam, the stablecoin scam, inviting people on paid trips to the White House, perfume, not enough for Donald Trump. He's got to rip you off even more and take your life because of it. That's disgusting. And we're going to continue to call it out. I hope the mainstream media does the same in calling this out for what it is. We're going to continue to do so. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.